right. Hey, you guys. Okay, so part 2. I'm going to try to get this done in one more video. All right, so we got everything cut for the multi-tags. We got all of our pieces cut, and I have been busy basically just sort of collaging, but mostly just gluing these tag shapes onto, decorative paper. Lots of ledger paper is what I'm actually using. I think any, lightweight paper would work, even, like wrapping paper or something. So I covered the outside of each of these. So I'll do one of those. It's really just a matter of getting it covered, because a lot of it's going to be parts of it are going to be covered again anyways with different little elements and stuff. So I just use what I like, and that's what I like. Some of them I used like a botanical type of book page, that I actually had coffee dyed. So for the most part, I'm using ledger paper on these. And some of them I was kind of collaging different pieces onto these. And then I realized that, I don't know, I think they look just as good with, just a couple of larger pieces. So that's sort of what I've come to at this point. Well, since I have a bunch of them, and to save time, I thought, well, I'll just do that. Okay, so just scraps, pieces of whatever kind of paper you want to use, basically. And you don't even have to do this. Like, you could just stamp it. You could paint these. You could do all kinds of stuff. You could use napkins, do more of a like a decoupage type of thing. I wouldn't use anything that's too thick, because you still need to be able to fold these, right? So just basically just get the outside of it covered. And then I decided that for my window piece, that I want to just leave it plain. I'm not gonna cover it with anything. And let me just show you, because I think it just gets too busy, and whoops, pulled part of that off. I just like the way it looks when that doesn't have any like decoration on it or whatever, so that you can see the images that you put in the windows. So I left those plain, and then I decided to cover the pocket with some sort of paper, So this is what I did on this one, some ledger, and then I just added a little bit of lined paper. And then, the tags, you can do whatever you want. Like, you can cover those with paper. I did these with some ledger, and then I'm going to embellish these just a little bit and, kind of do some stitching on them and what have you. So for the windows, I'm using this punch. This is a really old punch. I actually got this from Michelle. She had a clearance sale, and I picked up a priority box full of punches from her. So I'm using this square punch, and basically to make sure that I get it lined up, I'm sort of sitting it on its side like that, putting some pressure on it. It needs to be sharpened, because it's really hard to punch. Plus this paper is kind of thick, right? So So to make sure that they're lined up, I'm just pushing the paper all the way back to the edge. Whoops, it's the wrong way. There we go. Pushing it all the way to the edge or to the inside. And then applying some pressure and punching. I hope those lined up. Yeah. So those lined up pretty well. And I wind up with this nice little square. So I don't know, maybe I can make something with that. Okay, so that's my window. And then I'm just going to cover this with, yeah, I saved out a little piece here. Just some, you know, flowery paper. And then I'll be cutting a little notch in it. Whoops, make sure I glue on the right side. And I always use my baby wipe to smooth it down. Make sure I don't have any air bubbles in there. And then just trim around the edges. And determine what is up. Okay, so this is up. So I'm just going to add a little notch in my pocket. Give it a little trim. Okay. And then I'm rounding the corners on these also because I just like the way it looks. Okay. Oh, and then also I want to round the corners on the window. But first I'm going to trim this. First I need to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this up. And you know, you can put the windows wherever you want. I mean, if you're making the windows, you can put them on any panel, any one of these panels that you want. I mean, you could even put them on the back if you wanted to. But I like to put it here. It seems to work out pretty well right there. This is coming up. And I'm using my glue sticks, you know, always my glue sticks whenever I'm doing collage and stuff. I don't know. I just like the way it kind of smooths out everything. Okay, so this is my trash. Okay. So I want my window on this panel, and this is the narrowest panel of all of them. So I want it to open on the outside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and notch these a little bit, because these are going to be like pockets, so you can slide a little, you know, whatever in there. And I'm going to add some Duralar. Whoops, sorry, I just went totally off camera. I'm just cutting these little edges off. Okay, and then since now I know how it's going to be positioned on here, I'm going to round these corners. Okay, I'm not going to round those corners because those are the ones that are going to be glued down. Okay, so that's the pocket and the window. And so this is actually really old Duralar. It's not acetate. It's an acetate alternative. But it's nice, clear. I got this at the thrift store. It's nice, clear plastic. It's a nice weight. And whoops, I'm just eyeballing the width. So I just want to make sure that it's wide enough to cover the window completely and not so wide that it sticks out on either side. Okay. And it glues pretty well. Hang on, let me get my glue going. All right. So I'm using art glitter glue because it actually does hold really, really well and quickly. So I'm just doing a really, really thin bead of this glue. Not too close to the opening, just in case the glue like oozes out, right? You don't want it to come out into your window. And then just carefully position it, drop it down, and just, you know, just kind of tap it into place. Yeah, because if you push too much, then you're going to smush the glue out into your window. Okay, so that's the window, and the pocket is done. Put that away. And then as far as the little tags, we'll do those in a minute. So on the inside, I just like to add something, you know, interesting. What I've been doing is just using some little scraps of ledger paper, or, you know, some kind of flowery paper or something. So I just grab a couple little scraps. And so this is where my pocket's going to be. So it wouldn't make sense for me to just put it down here. So I want to actually, oh, you know what? I forgot to trim these little corners. So I'm folding it backwards so I can trim those little corners off. So I can actually see it. There we go. Okay. All right, so you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to add anything down here because the pocket's going to cover it up. Just a little something. Like, I'm not trying to necessarily cover all of the paper on the inside of this, you know. The file folder, I mean. Whoops, I missed a corner. Okay, I need another glue stick. So I'm actually trying the Amazon Basics all-purpose glue stick. I've been trying it on some stuff just to see how it does, because it's, you know, obviously it's a little bit cheaper than the Elmers, but I don't know. I bought 3 boxes of the Elmers all-purpose glue sticks, this large size, on Amazon a few days ago. Well, about 5 days ago. And they had a whole bunch of them that were damaged packages. So they were like $7 for a dozen. And they had like 12 of them. So I don't know. Check Amazon and look down in the listing down below where it says other offers, you know, at a lower price or whatever. Because sometimes they have those damaged packages and you can pick this glue up for a lot cheaper, because it's usually like $12, about $1 a stick. And you can get them where they come just like repacked in like a plastic bag or something, because the box got damaged and they can't sell it at full price if the boxes are damaged. So I just check it all the time, you know. Whenever I'm on Amazon and I feel like I need glue, I'll just check that and see if they have any. And, you know, it's worth $7 to me, even if I already have glue, actually. Okay. So that's that. And then what I want to do is just add a little something on this pocket. And I thought I would probably use one of these little labels. So this is one of the definition labels from Tracie's shop. So I just inked it up around the corner, around the edges. And this sticker paper seems to work pretty well. If you're interested in that, I'll try to remember to add a link in the description to that Kraft sticker paper that I got. It wasn't a bad deal. Okay, so that's good. And then I think I want to add, I want to just add a little tiny bit of like grid paper right there. Just to give it some interest, you know. This is why these are kind of time consuming to make, you know, a dozen of them. It was, you know, each one takes a little bit of thought, right? It's not like they just put themselves together. Okay, so that looks good. And this is where my notepad is going to go, but I still want to add something there because it's not going to cover the whole entire, or it's the back sheet of the notepad's not going to be glued down all the way. It's only going to be, well, you'll see what I mean. I just like to add something there because I do. Okay. So I'm just going to glue a piece of paper on there, piece of old, you know, lined ledger paper. Okay, so that's a nice little journaling spot that would act as like the last page of the notebook or the notepad. Okay. And then I want something over here because this is going to be just like a journaling spot on this side of the card. So I'm going to use that. Actually, I think I'll use the grid this time. Oops. Okay. Yep. That's going to be good. Got quite a trash pile over here. Okay. So then I was thinking it would be cool to just put something like that right there. So, and this is a way I love doing this with fussy cuts because I can still use that part of this flower somewhere else on this tag or, you know, on another one. And just kind of, I feel like it helps you get more bang for your buck out of the job of fussy cutting something. If you split it into two, it's like you can use it twice. Okay, so I think that looks nice. And then this, and then on here, this is just going to be a pocket. Okay, so that's all together. And then on the front, I want to do something, I want to kind of embellish the front too. This little piece of ledger paper just keeps like popping up. So I'm just gonna glue it on here. I don't know why, but it's like screaming at me to use it. All right, now right there. Okay. So I'm just gonna add a butterfly on here. Just a little piece of a butterfly maybe. This is one that I actually fussy cut that was printed on white paper. Yeah, I like that. So this one, since I'm using most of the image, I'm just gonna trim it off after I glue it down. Okay. Oops. All right, there we go. And then I want to put a label on the front too. I think I want to use, no, I'm just going to use one of these. I'm just going to use one of these. I was going to use a blank label, but no, no, no. Okay. I feel like I'm rushing, trying to get this done, and I don't think I need to. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Most of my videos are usually about an hour long anyways. So, oh, that's a little tiny bit crooked. But you know what? It's not the end of the world, right? Okay. So there. I like it. Okay. And then the back, you know, we're going to be adding a piece of, you know, ribbon or string or something across the back. You know, you don't necessarily have to do that. There's other ways that, you know, you could tie this closed, besides, you know, stitching ribbon or seam binding on there. But I don't know. I just kind of like the way it looks. Okay, so let me put this stuff away, and then I'm going to stitch this thing together. Let me grab a piece of that seam binding though, or I meant sari silk is what it is. It's sari ribbon. And my sewing machine. My dusty sewing machine. So kind of guessing the length of this, but I've made a few of these now, so I sort of know how long it needs to be. And I prefer them a little bit long anyways. So it's a couple feet long. It's probably 24 inches. Okay. Plug in the sewing machine. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to stitch around this, the windows, but I don't necessarily want, first of all, I've got to ink this because I'm not going to have another opportunity to do that. And I'm just inking it really lightly. And I don't know, I just like the way that looks. Sort of separates it from the background. This pad needs to be changed really bad. Okay, so here's my reasoning. I'm going to just run a stitch in the middle of these because I want these to be two separate pockets. But since it's going on this side of the tag, I don't necessarily want to actually stitch it onto the tag on this side. Like I don't really want there to be a stitch going across there. So I'm just going to kind of make it look like it's stitched there. Whoops. By just running a stitch right or a seam right across that part. And then it's going to get glued in the middle. All right, so that's what I'm going to do is actually glue this before I do anything else. Okay, so I got to make sure it's the right way up. It goes like that. So I'm going to run glue kind of heavy along that thread. Because I want to, definitely make sure that that sticks and it stays stuck. This doesn't necessarily have to be as heavy a bead of glue. That's probably way too much because it's going to get stitched, but Okay. So see, it sticks out just a little bit on that corner, so I can just trim that off. Got to make sure that it really sticks down in that center. Okay. I'm going to trim that off now. Okay. So that's that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the pocket. I'm just going to ink the parts that I'm not going to be able to get to later. You could run a little kind of like a faux stitch across here, like a, I guess it's still a stitch, but you could run a little stitch along that too if you wanted to. I think that would be cute. I'm not going to do that, but yeah. Anyway, so then I'm just going to tack this down with a really thin bead of glue, just hardly even any. Because I'm not going to be relying on the glue to necessarily hold this in place. And I don't want a bunch of glue on it anyways, because I want to still be able to get a tag in this little pocket. Okay, and then I just took a bunch of scraps of different papers and sort of made just a little pile of them. And I did this ahead of time because I didn't know how crazy it was going to be making this video. So these are just different papers. Most of them are like grid or lined papers. I think it's, what is it, about 10, 8 or 10. However many you feel like you could get through your sewing machine. And then I'm just going to add this one in here somewhere. Okay, so you want to make sure that they're all lined up at the top. Okay, they can be different lengths, in there, but I want to, you want them to all be lined up at the top. And then what I did to sort of hold it all together is I just took a piece of, this is a heavy Kraft cardstock, and I just folded it in half, just a little piece in half, and then sort of like you would do on a matchbox or a matchbook notepad, I just kind of slipped it over the top. I'm gonna trim off the edges. Okay, so that's my little notebook. And then I'm just going to stitch that right across the top. Okay, so that's my little notepad. So you can set that aside for a minute. All right, so then stitching. If you're going to add a tab, this is probably a good time to do that before you stitch, so that the tab gets in the stitch also. So since we're going to be tying this, you just kind of want to make sure that you put your tab somewhere that isn't going to interfere with that piece wrapping around, right? Like you wouldn't want to put it right there, because then it's always going to be in the way of the tie. So I have a tendency to put them up a little higher rather than lower. But that's just me, you know. You put it wherever you want. You don't have to use a tab. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting addicted to the art glitter glue. I'm like officially come to the dark side on the art glitter glue. Okay. So that is done. And then I'm going to add an eyelet too. But so I want to add a stitch all the way around the whole perimeter. And then I'm going to come back and actually stitch up the side of this pocket. Okay. So I want my top stitch to be on the front. And whoops, I forgot. I started up here on the rest of them. So there's certain things that I want to make sure actually get caught in the stitch. So you don't want to, you know, go too close to the edge, because you do want the edge of that pocket to be stitched in. As well as the bottom of the pocket. All the way across the bottom, and then the window. And then up this side of the window. Okay, and then since we've got that this little notch there, I come down just a little bit so that I can still run a straight stitch all the way across. Okay, and then see, I missed the bottom of this pocket a little bit, so I'm actually going to go and I'm going to go back across that, because I want to make sure that that gets caught in the stitch. I probably should have just put the pocket a little bit lower, but you know, it's not the end of the world, right? Okay. I'm using like the biggest scissors I could possibly use for this. Okay, so that stitching doesn't necessarily bother me. It's just I didn't want to have a stitch going right through the middle of that. I don't know. Okay, and then the little notepad, I'm actually going to just glue it in there. And I've gone back and I've checked on the ones that I already made, and I glued them in with the art glitter glue, and they're all still stuck and they're pretty sturdy. But I mean, I used a good amount of it. So, oh, you know what I forgot is I like to just notch the corners on these a little bit. I just think it looks nice. So then it just goes up right there, kind of centered on the panel. Make sure it's stuck down. Okay. See, I think that looks really cute. Yeah. Okay, so that's like that, and that's like that. And that's like that. All right, and then I want to turn this over. And I'm just going to stitch this on. I'm just going to tack it down. You don't necessarily have to stitch this on. Like, it could just be loose, you know, and just wrap it around. I just kind of like the way it looks when it's stitched on. So I just do just a little straight stitch just to tack this on. Being careful I don't stitch through my notepad, right? The other thing you could do is just stitch one side, you know, just so that it doesn't get lost. And I might just do that on this one, you know, just to be sure it doesn't get lost. And that way, you know, you could still do something on the back of this tag. Like you could, you know, glue a picture or something on there if you wanted to. So yeah, so that's basically it. I'm going to be adding the eyelets and my little tags. I don't know what I did with them. Where'd I put them? Oh, here they are. Okay. Let me put this to bed. Okay. So you do want to make sure that these are going to fit in here. You know, it's kind of tight, but I think it'll loosen up. Like, I mean, it's paper, so, you know, it's bendable. I mean, I've been using the tags that I made for other journals and stuff. But I mean, you could just do something very simple on these. I'm just going to add, actually, that is thick cardstock grid paper. I don't want that. It's too thick. So that, and then here's another one that, this is a ledger that I'm not able to bend this paper because it's really brittle. And so only thing I can really use it for is to glue, you know, if I glue it onto something. So I'm just going to glue this on here. See, it's really brittle. I have to be really careful with it, actually. And then we'll put some kind of little embellishment on there, maybe a label or something. Just to make it cute. And then this one. What are we at? Okay, 38 minutes now. Not too bad. Okay. Oh my gosh, I got glue all over my desk. Okay, this is better. And then let's see. Oh, you know what? I'll just add this little piece of this flower. So that'll kind of tie it together. Just add that on here. Yeah, I think that's cool. And it doesn't really need anything else, you know. It you know, simple. Simple is good. let's see if this is too, yeah, so I'm going to actually add a little, I'm going to add this little label, but I'm cutting off part of it, but that's okay. It's like the idea of it is still there, you know? Okay, and you can still read part of the definition. And then I'm going to trim the corners on these. Make them look like proper tags, right? And, you know, you could add a topper or something like that if you wanted to. I'm not going to take the time to do all that right now. Add some seam binding or some sari silk or baker's twine or something like that. I like to round the corners on these. Makes it a lot easier to get them in the pocket. So those will fit in there. And, you know, just, I put these little tags. I have like a, it's a label punch. And it makes I was trying to find it. I can't find it. It makes a perfect size little label that, or tag. Oh, here it is. So this tag punch, yeah, it's Recollections. This makes a perfect little tag that fits in that really well. Where's that other one? See, you'll notice that this one, I made the opening on the inside, and I did that on accident. But so see, it's just that little punch and just a little flower image, and that fits in there nicely. And I like the little I have glue and stuff all over my hands. I like that the little tab sticks out on those. I think that's really cute. So yeah, so that's basically it. And then, you know, an eyelet in the, make sure I don't punch through these. Or you could just punch a hole at a reinforcer, or not, you know. I mean, it's cardstock. It's pretty sturdy. And then ink it as you see fit. Like you could ink the edges and stuff. I usually don't ink the inside of stuff like this, because I think the idea of inking something is to show distress, right? And so it wouldn't be as distressed on the inside as it is on the outside. So yeah, so that's my little multi-tag. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about it, if you think you're gonna make some, and if you do, I would love to see them. And you know, I've had a couple people tell me that my Instagram link is not working. So I will try to get that fixed. But if you would like to tag me on Instagram, it's just Jessica Wrap or 2 Silver Oranges. So either one, and you'll find me on Instagram. And then yeah, also in my Facebook group, if anybody makes some of these little multi-tags, I would love to know about it. So yeah, they turn out kind of cool because they're real thin, and you know, I don't know, I just like them. Anytime I see somebody making those like trifold tags, Tracie makes some really cute ones, and she has them kits to make those too. So so embellishing them would be a breeze because, you know, the printable kit is really cool. So anyway, check them out. And I will put in the description link to that Kraft sticker paper. And I'll go ahead and add the link to the white sticker paper that I ordered too. And then also to the Amazon Basics glue. And I'll go ahead and add the link to the all-purpose one. You know, just in case you want to try it out. I trust this glue with paper all day long. This one, I'm still trying it. So if you want to try it, you'll have the link so you can try it out too. Okay, I hope I didn't forget anything. I'm pretty sure I probably did, but if I, you know, if you have a question or anything, just leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer you. Okay, guys. So I love you. Take care. Bye for now.